Welcome to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. As that you please, add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/show/Best Damn Podcast. Also, if you are watching here on YouTube, DLive, Facebook, Periscope, LinkedIn, wherever the hell you're watching, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, get those notifications, hit that like, leave a comment, and share. Share it like it's going out of style, because, well, it is, right? The truth is definitely out of style right now. And it really helps us to reach new people. Also, guys, if you're interested in checking out the best private content on the planet, donate and support today. You can go to PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger. All of the links will be in the description. And you can join us for the Best Damn Fam Live. And we just recently did one, yesterday, day before, and it's up for everybody. I made it public for everyone, right? You better do it, because Judgment Day, it's close, right? It's really close, and you don't want to be like this chick, getting fried at the fence. You want to know what's going on, don't you? That's why you want to check out our private content, our uncensored shows. Join us on Discord, join our chat, because it's just awesome. You want to be one of the cool kids, don't you? Probably not if you're watching this. You're probably one of the weird ones like me. But I do appreciate everybody for joining me. I've got a good one for you. And we are about to lift off here. And I don't know if you guys remember, but yesterday I came to you and I was going to do today's show, do today's video, and I ended up getting kind of sidetracked with some stuff at home personally, so I decided to save it for today. And this is going to be one of those that are multiple parts, because I just have so much information that I can't fit it all into one, man. I can't fit it into one. You guys are going to love it, though. You're going to love it, because we're going to talk about man versus machine. This is one of the deepest topics that I have ever, dived, I don't even know how you would say that, into, and it touches all bases, man. It touches all bases. We will touch the theological realm with archons, the watchers, messengers, angels, fallen angels, demons, spiritual entities, interdimensional entities. We're also going to touch technology, of course, right? 5th generation technology, directed energy, electromagnetic pulse and frequency, D-wave. I mean, dude, AI, it goes on and on. Transhumanism. I mean, this is really, this is the mother of all, I don't even want to say conspiracy, that's a weaponized word. But this is the mother of all topics, man. This is going to be one that's going to probably unlock, some answers, at least for some of you, right? Or help some of you, maybe in your own research and things that you were looking into and that you was having trouble finding answers to or finding information on. And I mean, I have got documents galore. I have got articles galore. And I mean, some of this shit, man, I won't lie to you. It's going to be a little intense, a little hard to believe, right? But trust me on this one. Everything that you are about to hear, everything that you're about to, experience here on the Best Damn Podcast is what I truly believe to be the truth, right? This is my own research, my own thoughts, and I never try to steer anyone, in a direction I myself am not going into. You know what I mean? I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. I believe what I say truly, and I stand by it too. Right? We try to use science, history, theology, anything you can think of, ancient texts, whatever, to back it all up, man, to bring it all together. That way it supports itself, because that's what the truth does. It stands on its own, right? It's self-evident. And it's something that, each one of us can recognize, right? Because the truth is written on our hearts, right? So each one of us, when we see it, we hear it, we know it, right? It's that inner knowing. Right? We know that it's the truth because it's written on us, so we recognize it, right? And hopefully all of you guys are having an awesome night. Let me go ahead and shout out a few of you guys before I dive into this one. Looks like we have Patty Statler, Derek Tyler, Rachel Kneebone, Lisa Pinky, DF, Just Call Me Lilith. That's so funny. Just Call Me Lilith. And Dudio over on D Live. You gotta love the names. Doctor on Rewind. Fallen Angel Technology. That's right, Doctor on Rewind. It appears to be, does it not? Ray, Mary, James Lowmiller. There's my homie, James. What's up, brother? Donna Marie Farrell. Hello, Donna Marie. There's another good one. Thank you, guys. Jules, 44. Awesome. Nice to see you, Jules. Who else do we have? Matthew Short, Anthony Wynn, Teresa Diane over on Facebook Live. Awesome, guys. Kiara Kalisa? Kiara Kalisa over on YouTube. Thank you, guys. You guys are the shit, man. I appreciate all of you. Can't tell you how much. Heidi Lanza. Hello, Heidi. Heidi's a good one, right? She does a lot of research. If it's the same Heidi I'm thinking of, does a lot of research. Gwendolyn Morales, Just Jess. Hello, Jess. Nice to see all of you. It really is. So yeah, tonight we're gonna get deep into this one, man. And like I said, this is gonna be multiple parts. So don't, and CR user. Hi, CR. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you. Seriously, and let me start with that. With an attitude of gratitude. I can't say thank you enough to all of you for just taking the time to watch, taking the time to engage in the communities, which I strongly recommend everybody go join the Discord, which it's popping right now. I mean, there's so many new people that's joined. It's crazy. I don't know where all you guys are coming from, but that's awesome to see you there. Thank you. And it is free to join, guys. It's free to join. And like I said, I have posted the most recent private show, The Best Damn Fam Live, for free for everybody. So everybody can check out that experience and decide if you would like to purchase a subscription each month, or you would like to donate and contribute and have access as well, and you would get that upgraded Discord role. I am now doing a blog, Best Damn Podcast Official. It's on Blogger, and I am asking that anybody that writes or wants to contribute to the blog, you're able to. Just submit it to the Real Best Damn Podcast at gmail.com. I don't give a shit what it's about, as long as it's not pornographic or just, something that has nothing to do with what we do here. I will put that into the new BDP blog, and you guys are going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's going to be so cool. Like I said, also, anybody interested in helping out with web design, I have somebody that's been doing some graphic design. I don't know if they want to, what they want to do with that, but graphic design, just lots and lots of work. If you want to help with the show, you want to work with the show, you want to work with the community, please contact me, the Real Best Damn Podcast at gmail.com, or you can even text 513-393-2396. And if you have donated and supported for the month and you haven't been sent your link to the Best Damn Fam Live, you can also text or email that as well. And yeah, Cain was a serpent's seed. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I got sent this thing that was talking about the etymology of the words and how, in the private show I was talking about the different words and what they mean and all of this. And it was Cain and Abel. Somebody had sent me in a text the words Cain and Abel. And when you put it together, a cannibal, right? And you think about the offerings that both of them gave to God, right? Which one was like an animal sacrifice and the other was, the grain and all of that. So it's really, really crazy. And then, the brother kills the other. So, I mean, it's amazing when you dig down deep into not just the etymology of the words, but, all the hidden meanings, the occulted meanings. And I know people are so against, the word occult. But guys, it just means hidden. It just means hidden. And we are uncovering occulted stuff on a daily basis here on the Best Damn Podcast. Even whoever it was that commented, and they said even the sun shines on a dog's ass twice a day or something, basically saying like, because I got something right. So I guess, it is what it is when it comes to shit like that. So let's go ahead and jump in, man. Which, by the way, I don't read the comments too much, but when I see somebody specifically talk to me or whatever in the comment section, I try to respond. But some of you guys are just ridiculous with the comments. I don't know why a person would even watch if they hate me. Why watch if you hate me and you hate the show and you hate everything? Why watch, man? You know what I mean? Watch something else. Watch some shit you do like. I don't see why people want to torture themselves by watching a person or a content they can't stand. That's beyond me. It's beyond me. You think of it as iron and clay. Yes, blood is iron and clay is in the form itself. Well, we're about to talk about the iron mixed with miry clay. Right now. It's transhumanism, in my opinion. It's transhumanism. And also, Nostradamus in Quatrain 944 talks about Saturn going from gold to iron, right? And I believe this is what he is speaking about. Remember, Saturn, Satan, the god of this world, gold representing the sky or the heavens, but also representing the spirit, right? Your soul, spirit. So Saturn coming from gold to iron, meaning, right, him coming from spirit to machine. And it would be AI, in my opinion, right? That's what we're talking about. That's what this is. Saturn turning, and let me pull that up just to show what I'm saying here before we get into the videos. And this is what I mean. There's so much of this, and imagine trying to explain these things when, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, right, when you had no frame of reference for any of this. Nobody had a fucking computer back then. So trying to explain, somebody, becoming this AI fucking machine and all of this and, giving life to the image, and it's just insane and amazing how much foresight and just intelligence and spiritual intuition people like Nostradamus had, right? Like it's crazy that they can even put it in words that we would understand now. And here it is, 944, Quatrain 944, leave of Geneva, not a single person will be spared. Saturn will change from gold to iron. Rapaz will exterminate all those against him. Before the advent, the heaven will show signs. And guys, this is key. This is going to kick off everything for this show. Leave of Geneva. Geneva. What is in Geneva, guys? What is in Geneva, right? When we think about CERN, right, the Large Hadron Collider, and you think about artificial intelligence, you think about D-Wave, you think about Satan, the Destroyer, Abaddon, Apollyon as well. And you say, why would you think about that? Well, you do because the logo for CERN, right? Let me pull up the CERN logo. It's right there. The logo for CERN in itself, it's 666, guys. Right there. The logo for CERN is 666. It is built on the temple of Apollyon, aka Abaddon, which is the destroyer or the god of death and rebirth, if you want to get, technical. It is the only government, government institution that has a mascot, right? And this mascot is right here. Here's the mascot. Shiva, the destroyer. Once again, right? Another version of Apollyon or Abaddon. So you built this thing right on the temple of Apollyon. You have the mascot as Shiva, the logo as 666, which is the number of the beast, right? And all of this, and now we find out that not only in the 40s did they start off with the White Rabbit Project, follow the White Rabbit, right? You guys heard that anywhere? Follow the White Rabbit, right? Like in the Matrix, or if you're one of those Q people, then you know all about the White Rabbit, right? And not just the White Rabbit Project, but the World Wide Web as well. The World Wide Web, which the Hopi and their prophecies, and I should have had them already pulled up, but I don't want to get too sidetracked. The Hopi and their prophecies, they spoke about a web covering the skies, right? A web covering the skies and covering the earth in the last days. Well, I think we might know what that web is now, right? And what is it? Something spiders weave not here in Bohemian Grove, right? A spider is weaving a web to trap its prey, right? To trap its prey. And when you think about the World Wide Web, right, and the internet, and I've kind of spoken about this, in the past, and this is once again one of those examples of the etymology of the words and what they actually mean, right? And you can compare these things to, well, us, right? The internet or Ethernet and the ether, right? Our hard drives, or you look at the DNA, which is our program, right? Our programming. All of these different things, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Our nervous system would be our wiring, so on and so forth. We're biological versions of AI, it appears, right? And maybe we are an older version of artificial intelligence, if you think about it too. And this will kind of open up your mind on some of these things when we consider the fact that AI might be God. And don't get offended at me saying that. I'm not saying that I believe that at all, but I'm just saying, right? We have the scripture, right? The scripture which is prophetical, right? It's prophecy, meaning that this is something that hasn't come to pass but will, right? This is a prediction that will come to pass. It's prophetical. This is something yet to happen but will happen, and a lot of the prophecies already have happened. And there's nothing new under the sun, which means that this prophecy or these prophetical events repeat over and over and over again, as if they are on a loop, right? As if they are part of a program. And what would a program do? A program would run over and over. You look at the word in Scripture, the base word, script, Well, whenever you have a computer program, you need script to write that program. Am I correct? See the word, the etymology, and how technology and the spiritual realm seem to connect, right? And when we consider all of these things too, let's just talk about Samael, right? Samael. And this is out of the Nag Hammadi codices, which are a different version of the Holy Bible, in my opinion. Not the Bible, but like the Bible. And I believe it was found, I want to say it was either the 40s or the 60s in the caves of Nag Hammadi, and that's why it's got the name. And funny when it has a name, because you look at Nag or Naga, and it means like serpent warrior or warrior, right? Which, think about Aries or, all of these things. The names keep kind of playing out to mean, more and more of the same thing. Right? And in these texts or scriptures, whatever you want to call them, they have one called Reality of the Rulers, or Hypostasis of the Archons. And it talks about the chief archon, right? The chief. We could compare him to Enlil, right? Lord Commander Enlil, like the top dog, right? And this chief archon named Samael, what he does is, well, number one, he believes he's God, right? He believes he's God because he was hidden by his mother, who I believe was the Holy Spirit, right? She was light, she was spirit, and I want to say it was Sophia. She hides him in the clouds on a throne. As he's sitting there in the darkness by himself, he says, "It is I who am God, and none are apart from me." Right? And thus, when he did this, right, when he spoke those words, he heard himself and was divided. Right? So this tells you right there, right off the top, that consciousness was the fall. Becoming conscious, becoming aware of self. Right? If you look at us now, that's basically what's happened to us down here in the host body. And I believe that every story is about us at the end of the day, including the story of Samael. We are Samael just as much as we are Jesus Christ, just as much as we are all of them. Right, that they're talking about. Azazel, you could go on and on. We are all of these people, or all of these characters, or all of these stories, because it's all talking about our creation, because we come out of the source, right? The source, nothing exists outside of the source. Everything exists within the source. So if we are a piece of the source, then guess what? We're a piece of everything. Right? We are God in essence, not the title God for ourselves, but we are God together. Right? All of us are a piece of the Creator, which means since Satan came out of God, right? He had to exist from somewhere, right? And nothing exists outside of God. God existed before anything, right? There was never a time God didn't exist. Right? He's outside of time. He's outside of all of that, right? You can't even call him God because God's come from him. You can't call him good because good came out of him. You can't call him anything. There's no word to describe him, no name to put on him, anything. He's too much. He's too big. He's too great. He's incomprehensible. We can't wrap our minds around what he, and I use he as a generic term because he's beyond gender, right? He is. But Satan, the darkness came out of him. So if that's true, then, well, we're also Satan too, right? We're also Satan too. We are this host body system. And hopefully everybody can hear me and see me fine. Let me know if you guys can't hear me and see me. Let me pull up this chat. Can everybody hear me and see me? Everybody hear me and see me fine. You love this. Awesome. I'm glad you love this. The 10 Commandments, the Word was in the beginning. Yes, John, but what was the Word? The Word was sound. The Word was sound. Sound is a lower frequency or lower vibration of light, right? It's light at an intensity to where it vibrates and creates sound. So sound and light are one and the same. So good and evil are one and the same. So God and the devil are one and the same. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see what I'm saying about this? It was light that came out in the beginning, that light existed before all things. Light is God. But that sound, which is this low vibration, right, came out of God. It fell out of God. And that was a creation of Satan or Samael. Samael meaning what? God of the blind. He's God of the blind. Why is he the God of the blind? Because they can't see the truth. They don't know who they are. They have forgotten who they are, where they came from, and so on and so forth. And that's why they worship stars and other things instead of the source itself. Right? Their eye has closed. Right? They're deaf, dumb, blind, and lame. Think about all the miracles Jesus performed, right? He was making the blind see. What do you think he was really doing? Do you think he was physically making the blind see? Well, one would say, yeah, sure he was. Because all things happen multi-dimensional, right? Every aspect is true. Every aspect happens at the same time. And that's what ascension truly is, guys. That's what ascension truly is. And I want to get this straight with people because people give me such a hard time. They're like, well, it's just the physical, or it's just the spiritual, or it's just astrological. No. Always are true at the same time. See, spirit transcends. It transcends the physical. It transcends all of those things. So spirit exists in every plane, in every level, every direction. Right? Every direction. So when we see a prophecy happening, it's playing out like 100 different ways. Right? So what you think of as the great sign, or Cyrus or whatever out of the Bible, could be true in the way you see it. But the person across from you may see it in another way. Right? And both of you could be right. But both of you are probably only looking at it with one frame of mind, because you're still trapped in the box, right? That's why the whole identity and labels and all of that is dangerous as fuck, because you're still trapped in the cube, right? That's why Saturn, Samael, that god of the blind, is the cube god, right? Cube Allah, Allah. That's why he's that. Right? He's trapped you in the cube. He's made you blind to the whole picture. Right? He's made you blind to the whole picture. You only see with your blinders on now. Right? Think about Odin. He's also Odin. Right? He had one eye. One eye. Right? All of these things. Saturn, Kronos, Satan. This is all the same guy. All the same guy. You're just being told different versions of it. Why? This is all for division, separation. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Think about it. How divided are we? How divided are we here? Incredibly, right? We're not just divided against ourselves personally. We're divided as a whole. Race, sex, age, all of that. And why did that happen? Why did that happen? Because the Tower of Babel, right? We try to create a tower to go up to God, which, think about it, like if this was the real God, do you think we can make a tower to go up and kick his ass? Come on, man. Get real, right? He created everything. You couldn't make anything to ever get close to him, and he would fucking whip your ass before you ever left the ground. So who was this God we were going after? And why were we going after him? If you read the Lost Book of Enki, and this is interesting as shit to me, right? The Lost Book of Enki, Marduk creates a device, a mechanism to get through the firmament to break free. And it was against Enlil that he was trying to dethrone, right? Marduk was doing this. Who is Marduk? Well, he's a god of war. He's also Yahweh. Yeah. Right? The bull. Remember when they came down from the mountain and was worshiping a golden bull? Right? Remember that? Moses with his serpent staff, his devil horns, talking to a burning bush, which an archon is made out of smokeless fire. See, people don't ever recognize these things because they can't. They have cognitive dissonance from the indoctrination and the programming that they've been fed since they could hear, they could talk, they could understand. Right? So this truth, whenever they hear the truth, they instantly reject it. Just like in the Matrix, when Morpheus is taking Neo through the program, right? And there's a woman in the red dress, right? He's telling him, he's like, these people, some people aren't ready to be unplugged yet. Look around you. None of these people are ready to be unplugged yet. They're not. And what will happen? That means all of them are potentially agents of the system. And they will die. They will fight and die to protect it. Right? They have Stockholm Syndrome is what they have. And if you look at the masses, the general population around us today, they all have Stockholm Syndrome. They will die or kill you to protect that lie. Right? To keep safe their enslavement, their imprisonment. They love this prison. It's pretty. It's a pretty prison they've been put into. And they love living the lie. Right? And that's what the Bible even says too, right? God says they hate the truth. So since they hate the truth, I'll send them a strong delusion, causing them to believe the lie. They hate the truth. What is the truth? If we look up the definition of the Holy Spirit, you know what pops up? And I did this on this channel. You know what pops up? The Holy Spirit is a spirit of truth. So the one unforgivable sin is to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. The spirit of truth. It's the one unforgivable sin. Why? Because it traps you within the lie. Why is it? Right? And think about this. If Jesus died on a cross, and it was a blood sacrifice that set us free, why doesn't it say that? Why does it say the truth will set you free? Why doesn't it say blood rituals will set us free? Blood sacrifices will set us free. Satanic rituals will set us free. It says the truth will set you free. The truth. But to blaspheme the truth condemns you. Do you see, that something going on here? It's pretty consistent, But see what religion has done with it? How religion has twisted it around and got you once again to worship a deity outside of yourself. A deity outside of yourself. Right? Instead of seeking within and finding that truth and truly finding God. See, because Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within. And he didn't say it was fucking in the sky or in Los Angeles or, any of that shit. On a mountain in Hawaii, he was like, the kingdom of heaven is within. Well, if the kingdom of heaven is within, isn't that where God lives? Doesn't God live in heaven? Does he say, I'm in you, you are in me, we are in the Father? Right? I want you to have what I have. You will do greater works than even me. Trying to trying to make sense of all of this, guys. But what the hell? That's not what Christianity says. It's not what Islam says. It's not what Judaism says. It's not what any religion says. Why not? Why not? Could it be them that are leading people astray? Could they be different forms of control too? Could they be part of the archonic system to keep you trapped and enslaved? Just like the government, right? To govern or control or lord over, right? And remember, in the divine pyramander of Hermes Trismegistus, right? And there you go. That's not even Christian, right? That's Hermetic, right? Or more of the occult. In the divine pyramander of Hermes Trismegistus, the planets are known as the governors, right? The governors. So another word for these watchers, messengers, angels are governors, right? So to govern or control or lord over, right? Remember, they're called Lord, right? The Lord thy God, right? Just saying, I know it's all a coincidence, but hear me out, right? So government, so to lord or control, ment, which actually comes out of what? Mentality. What is that? It's your mind. So government is to control your mind. What? To control your mind? Or religion, right? Legion. I am legion. What is legion? They had a king over them. They're of one mind. Legion. Is it to get you to be part of that? That hive mind? To get you in line? Huh? Is that what it could be? Just saying. Or like when you remember something, right? What is a member? It is a part of your body. So you're remembering, you're putting yourself back together. People just don't get it, and they don't want to. They don't want to. And it's not that the truth is scary. It's not. The truth will set you free, and there's freedom, and there's hope and joy inside of the truth when you really find it. The truth is hard, though. It's a hard pill to swallow. Remember the guy in the Matrix? He's like, he's like, we all wish we would have took the fucking blue pill, right? He sat down with the agents trying to betray Neo and all of them, and I know this steak isn't real, right? That's how a lot of people are that find the truth even. They're like, fuck, man. I know none of this is real. I know none of this is what I was told it was. I know it really has no meaning, and it doesn't matter. But it tastes so good. Or it feels so good. I just want to keep going. I just want to let go of this truth and go back into the Matrix. Right? Matter of fact, they'll use their truth to screw people over who don't know the truth, usually, when they sell out. Right? You see, people sell out in a million ways. They do it every single day, in every single way that you could imagine, by compromising themselves, their beliefs, their morals, their values, for selfish gain, or to harm another person. That's a sellout. Right? That's a sellout. Now think about it. You probably know more sellouts than you know anything. Right? Everybody you know is probably a sellout. At this point in the game, very few are not. Almost all humans have sold out to the beast. Right? And that's what it makes you wonder. Like, why would they even need to mark these people at this point? They already have them. They already have them. Think about how easy it's been to mark them, too. How easily it's been for most people to just walk right in, get in line, and take theirs. Think about it. It's astonishing. It's downright terrifying that people don't give a shit about themselves or anyone else. It's mind-blowing, y'all. It's mind-blowing. But they're like their father, right? Your father is the father of lies. So they love those lies, right? They hate that truth. Remember, they'll kill you for my name's sake, right? Those who have love for the world, love for the Father is not in them. All of these things were telling you a simple truth. A simple truth. The world you live in is an illusion. It's a lie. And Genesis tells you the same thing. Tells you the same thing. That we were made in the image, the illusion, the phantom, the projection of God. And before I go to Revelations 9, let me hit you with this and show you I'm not lying. Gosh, I'm about to show you some wacky videos too. Hope I don't get a strike for this one. That's all I can say about that. But you'll see why in a second. Right here. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness, so they may rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move on the earth." And God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Let's see. Let us make humankind in our image. Let's make Adam a human being. And look, another version of that is a hypocrite. A hypocrite. Ain't that weird? How hypocrite is another version of that word? In our image. Let us make the hypocrite in our image. A phantom. An illusion or resemblance. A representative figure. An idol. A fucking avatar. An avatar. Right? That means you're not real. You're an illusion. You're a projection. And the reason I love the whole Sky Dome Atlantis shit and all that from Boogeyman Channel is because it's cracked the code for me when it comes to the holographic reality. Right? With us, anyways. You look at the soul luminescence, star in a jar, and it all makes sense. Light being projected through a prism, which would be the firmament, right? Creating holographic images, which would be us. We would be that. We would be the star in a jar. We would be that. Meaning we have been trapped down here, placed down here, fragmented, fractal down here, right? Fractured down here, right? That way we would be deceived into believing, right? And remember, we were put to sleep. Adam was put to sleep. And they never woke his ass back up either, by the way. When they kicked him out of the garden, right? Kicked his ass out of the garden and put him in here. And what did they do? They took a rib, right? Which is basically part of your DNA to make Eve. They split him in two. They made him male and female. Right? Because he was a son of God before. And if you look at the first book of Adam and Eve, that's exactly what it describes. It describes the angels falling at his feet because of his glory. Weird. Why would angels fall at our feet? right? And we weren't male or female. We were magnificent beings of light. So much so that the angels tried to worship us. They tried to worship us. Now, we get put asleep, split into male and female, told that if we eat from this tree, right? If we eat from this tree, the knowledge of good and evil, that surely we will die, right? And remember, to the knowledge of good and evil, to try to determine what is good or evil is to judge, right? To judge what is good or evil, and it places yourself on the throne of God, right? Because we don't have the right to judge anyone or anything, right? We aren't the judge, right? So we place ourselves on the throne of God after we're divided and placed to sleep. And the first book of Adam and Eve says it removed our brightness, meaning our intelligence and our light, what we knew. We're placed to sleep. We're split into male and female. And then what? We're placed in the firmament to separate the waters from above and the waters below. You look at space, and I've talked about how we project our reality outwards. So everything we see on the outside is actually a projection of us inside. Right? So when you see an ugly world, it's because you're an ugly person on the inside, usually. So those who look for the beauty can find it because you have beauty within you. Right? You look for darkness, you'll find it because you have darkness within you. Right? It's all about you and what you choose to see. Right? What you choose to believe, right? Think about Christ too. By their faith, they were healed. Right? They believed. So what you believed came true. That's what healed you. You believed you could be healed, so you were. You ever see somebody, what do they call it? Self-fulfilling prophecies? I'm terrible for them, by the way. Right? Where I think the worst sometimes about a person, a situation or something. You know, oh my God, they're going to screw me over. Oh my God, they're going to backstab me. Oh my God, they're going to do this. They're going to do that. And guess what? It happens every single time. Why? Through my faith, right? Through my belief. We are co-creators. You know, we're baby gods, little gods. God is our Father. So we are able to create like God, right? But we're also half of us is the devil, Satan, right? So half of us lies, deceives, kills, steals, is carnal, right? We're both. That host body, those two beings. What is this? Somebody said give up control, something. Alright, now, let's show some shit here. Like I said, leave Geneva. Not a single person will be spared. Saturn will change from gold to iron. Ray-Paz will exterminate all those against him before the Advent. The heavens will show signs. Well, before the Advent, meaning, and I want everybody to go check me out on Odyssey, by the way. I wanted to promote this, dudes. Sorry. Let me promote this. Drop this link in the chat for everybody. Please go follow me over on Odyssey. I need everybody to go follow me on Odyssey, please. Thank you, if you can. It would be greatly appreciated. Because, guys, I tell you what, YouTube and all that shit, man, not gonna last. Not gonna last. They just deleted my third channel. So, for no fucking reason at all, really, just to be honest. I just got off suspension with Facebook. I've had strikes on, every one of these channels and have strikes currently on every one of them. So, go follow me here. This platform allows you to actually have free speech at the moment, right? They haven't been compromised and all that yet. Remember DLive, we thought was going to be the same way. Well, DLive demonetized me and they booted a bunch of people off. We thought BitChute was going to be the same way. Well, all of these different platforms have changed their community guidelines and policies, and it happened all at the same time, if you notice. It happens always all at the same time. It just happened again, so you can guarantee, right? There's going to be another house cleaning on all these different platforms. The algorithms are going to get more aggressive, more intense, and not allow people to see, the things they don't want people to see. And they're going to get rid of people. Yeah. Somebody's premiere got pulled due to a violation of YouTube policy. Dude, and that's the thing. You know what? I got strikes for videos that have been deleted for a week. How in the hell do you strike me for something that's been taken down a week ago? You didn't catch it? So, and that shows you too that AI is so damn aggressive and intense, and who even knows? But it's to the point to where AI knows your video violated before it's ever uploaded, right? When you upload it, your AI will tell you it can't go on. When you upload it, AI rates it too, if you're monetized, and it'll tell you, oh, this is demonetized because it's dog shit for our policy. It's how do you know? You know what I mean? It hasn't even played. How do you know, right? And it's just from the words and everything. And it's to the point, too, to where if you're banned on some platforms, they have the voice recognition now. So anytime they hear your voice, they'll ban the channel that plays you, right? So say somebody, I get banned from a platform, and you try to play my video on that platform. Right? They'll ban your channel for playing my voice. Or anytime I try to upload or create a new channel on that platform, it'll automatically take me down, that it recognizes it's me. Well, awesome. Let's jump in here. I've got 1 million documents. 1 million documents. Guys, I'll tell you what, right now is, it's a strange time. And what's really wild about this, guys, and it's really strange, some of you may remember that I used to have, I want to say a co-host, but they weren't really a co-host. They were just somebody that worked on the channel with me about a year or so ago. And this person that worked with me was a computer programmer, was in software and all that. They worked for Patreon at one point too. I don't want to say their name or anything like that because but this person in college, which they went to a really, big deal, school that, is known for recruiting, alphabet agencies and all of that, right? And they worked on, mind mapping is what they did. I mean, which I learned all this stuff after I had hired them on. But it was originally the idea that they had, was to map the mind for, what would you say? How would you say it? Limbs that are missing and shit like that, right? So like a bionic leg or whatever, right? So they would map your mind to be able to know the connections, like the nervous system and the way that the brain fires, to, what part and all of that for, if you lost your arm or you lost your leg or, shit like that. But when I was talking to them, even they was saying, like, because I'm like, you know what that was for, right? That was obviously for some, like, deep mind, fucking AI, craziness. And, they even said, like, yeah, I didn't know that then when I was doing it. But looking back on it, yeah. And you guys kind of know how all that ended, those of you that watched. So I think it's very wild, too, when I see just now how all this has been implemented and it's all came to fruition, right? Like shit like that. These people, and it's so compartmentalized too. Like I said, I got, this one person working on one part and it's mind mapping, right, in college to help people that's been like wounded veterans and shit. How can someone say no to that? Right? That's like the most benevolent thing ever. Like, oh, you don't want to help veterans? Right? And notice that's the way that they do all of this too. They'll go through children, elderly, veterans, and, they'll choose minorities, right? Anything that they can to tug at heartstrings or make it seem like charitable, loving work that they're doing. But you're only seeing one piece because it's compartmentalized. So this one mind mapping piece is part of this giant plan with all these different moving parts. And all you're seeing is a participation in one little slice of it that's going to connect to a million other things.
Skull and put a chip inside. The true way that this technology works is that a complete DNA profile is obtained from the target, from the individual, the targeted individual. And then this information, the DNA of the individual, is used to determine the resonant frequency of the DNA itself. The resonant frequency is then used to fine-tune the technology, the radio frequency signals, the microwave auditory effect, and all the other aspects of the technology to tune it perfectly to the resonant frequency of the targeted individual.
And think about that too, radio frequency. And I love pointing this out because people need to get it through their head. Seriously. All this bullshit about the 5G and all that, wake the fuck up, man. Wake up, man. If you think that is the truth, right, and that's what all of this shit's about, you're tripping, dude. You fell for a psyop. Right? That's why they've let it go the way that they have. That's why they've let people believe, that it is what they think it is. Right? It's because it's got you and this is what's fucking dangerous about conspiracies. Right? Conspiracy theories are dangerous as fuck. And not for the reasons that they tell you they're dangerous. They're dangerous as fuck because they lead you down the wrong direction in a rabbit hole. Right? Like it's got you chasing your own tail. And there's a million different conspiracies that are just like this. Where they are allowed to be promoted, they're allowed to be propagated, and it's because it sounds good, right? It sounds good. It will make some sense and it will have some truth to it, but it's completely off in the real scheme of things. And they allow it to run rampant. That way people will actually believe it. Because if you believe that lie, well, guess what? You'll never look in the direction of the truth. Right? You'll think, well, I've already got it. It's all about this. This fifth generation shit. That's what they're doing. Right? The radiation from that is poisoning us. And that's why they're doing this. And that's why they're, poking that. And that's what it's all really about. You know? You think that way, then you'll never understand. You know, you'll keep waiting on them to put fucking towers up around you and shit. Right? You'd be like, oh, well, we're good till they put the towers up, or we're good till everything's in place. Are you? Really? Are you good? Because radio frequency's already in place. It's already there. Matter of fact, remember when they done the conversion of analog to digital? You guys remember that? Wonder what they were clearing all that broadband for, right? That band of frequency for. Anybody have any ideas why they would need all that, that band of frequency to be free? No? Nobody? Anyone? Got a clue? I'm sure that they just wanted us to have a better reception on our televisions. That's what it definitely was about. Right? That's what they did. That's what they wanted. They wanted your TV to be clearer when you watched it. That's what it was. They're like, damn, we can't have these people watching fuzzy televisions. It'll hurt their eyes. Right? Even though they let you starve as they throw away fucking, 1/3 of their food. Or even though they let you be homeless as they have more empty houses than homeless people. But they wanted your TV reception to be just, perfect. Right? That's what they wanted. That's what it's really about. Or they want your internet speed to be faster. That's why they really broke out the other one. Right? See, people need to wake up, man, and quit thinking that that they give a fat fuck about you. At all. About your well-being, about the way you eat, the way you drink. If they did, they wouldn't fucking put fluoride in your water if they cared about what you ingested. They wouldn't put GMOs in your food or metal in your fucking food if they thought like they wanted to keep you healthy. Right? They put those metals in your food because it accumulates in the frontal lobe of your brain. Right? That's why that Alzheimer's and shit is rampant. Right? And it's not just from that, too. Aluminum damages the frontal lobe of the brain and actually can cause Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, sleep paralysis, which was like not even a thing at all until the last decade or so. Juvenile diabetes. These are just to name a few, right? And these are things that are running rampant now that were nothing a few decades ago, right? Like, it was extremely rare. Extremely rare. They're common now, right? And it could have nothing to do with all the fucking metal you eat and drink. It could have nothing to do with all the metal you breathe in. None of it. And hey, let's be honest too. Whenever they're flying planes, that's condensation, right? It's condensation, not chemicals. Because think about it. Every time I walk down the street when it's really cold outside, my breath trails like 10 blocks behind me. Doesn't yours? Doesn't it? Mine does. It trails like fucking 10 blocks behind me. Condensation, man. You're crazy if you think otherwise. Couldn't be chemicals. Couldn't be nanoparticles. Right? Nanoparticles, especially aluminum, would, fan out into the air. Right? Floating down. Wouldn't it? It would refract and reflect light. It would have the ability to bend light and cloak objects and all kinds of weird shit. Why the fuck would they dump that? That would be strange. I'm going to show you some abstracts and documents in just a second. Right? Just a second to show you why none of this is true.
And they can read your thoughts verbatim as they occur within your own mind.
technology called biocoded directed energy. And that's a top secret thing that was developed. And what it is they get your DNA. Once they have your DNA, they take the DNA and they put your DNA code in a supercomputer. And in that supercomputer, they run algorithms that biocode electromagnetic transmissions so they bioresonate with your body. Once they've done that, they can transmit that from satellite to a cell tower or an aircraft or any number of ways. And that signal will only affect you and nobody else. In other words, everybody standing next to you can hear it. Because their receiver is not tuned to that bioresonance.
23andMe, man. 23andMe. Right? Anybody ever done it? You guys doing that? Or, shit, whenever we get tested for certain things now, I'm sure, you're positive or negative has nothing to do with your genetics. None of it, right? None of it at all. Let's take a look here. Oh, gosh. And let me put this back into here. These are more documents you're going to love. Hold on. Some documents you're going to love. Let's start here. Bill Gates funded chemical cloud that could help stop global warming. Chemical cloud. Like I said, condensation. Let me get this box out the way. A chemical cloud. How Bill Gates funded solar geoengineering that could help stop global warming. Fires burning across the Amazon rainforest have renewed the debate about solutions to climate change. Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical approach called solar geoengineering. It's meant to mimic the effects of a giant volcanic eruption. Sounds safe as fuck if you ask me. Thousands of planes would fly at high altitudes, spraying millions of tons of particles around the planet to create a massive chemical cloud that would cool the surface. Do you hear this shit? It's like, and you hear how they're talking about this is something that could happen, right? Like may happen, it maybe happen. Like it's not happening right this fucking second. Like we don't see planes every day, right? Spraying the shit out of the back, and we can't see the shit feathering down into the air. Or them making the big checkerboards in the sky as they're making sure to cover every fucking inch. Or hell, we can't see our sun reflecting off our own fucking sky now because of the shit. Modeling studies have found that it could reduce the intensity of heat waves. For instance, apparently, it could reduce the rate of sea level rise. Excuse me. Yeah, right. And it could reduce the intensity of tropical storms. And if you think about it, right, and HAARP, right? HAARP, and what they were doing there, by bouncing shit off the ionosphere, using the plasma down under the surface of the earth, right, and having it reverberate back outwards, right, creating fucking earthquakes and all kinds of shit, being able to move the weather or move clouds because they would seed them with nanoparticles, so then they could use Doppler or satellites or any fucking thing that has the ability to focus on those clouds. They could then use them and modify the weather. They could create a tornado. They could move all the clouds over China if they wanted to. Or they could take a hurricane and stop it right at Houston, let it build up, and then fucking wash the whole city out and kill a bunch of people, hypothetically. Right? Or in Katrina, they could do the same thing if that's what they wanted to. It's not like they would actually do those things. But, if they wanted to, they could. Right? And the technology is not far from being ready, and it's affordable. The consequences might be horrific. They might involve things like mass famine, mass flooding, drought of kinds that will affect a very large population. And think about it. It's not like, Bill Gates is into eugenics or anything. You know what I'm saying? So we're fucking good. Right? It's not like he would love to thin down the population. So don't worry about it. We're all good here. Watch nano-sized invisibility cloak can make small objects disappear. Your Project Bluebeam. Somebody asked about Project Bluebeam in the private show the other night. And I mean, it blew me away thinking about, the connection to us, to the AI system, and then what the ability of something like that would actually be able to do. But you know what? We don't have to be connected to a fucking thing, it appears. See if it shows it here. Nano antenna visibility cloak makes 3D objects disappear. And that was a shitty version to show it. Invisibility cloaks are a staple of fantasy and science fiction, but they're also an ongoing field of interest to scientific researchers who are continually working on ways to manipulate how objects interact with light. How they interact with light. And to see if we can make things that are really there look as if they are not. That's weird too. Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to make things that are there look like they aren't? It's like hiding a planet or some weird shit, or an alien invasion, or something like that. That'd be crazy, right? Or hiding a bunch of satellites over everyone's head to control them, or just strange things like that. You know what I mean? Hiding the fact that the whole sky and world that you live in is fake. And now the veil is dropping, and they need a bunch of fucking clouds and fake suns and shit to keep the illusion up. A new development with the biggest advancement in real-world invisibility cloaks yet, with researchers led by Berkeley Labs in the U.S. developing ultra-thin invisibility skin cloak that can wrap around a 3D object and hide it from detection via visible light. The cloak, which at present is only capable of making microscopic objects invisible, is composed of an extremely thin layer of gold nano antenna. And that gold nanoparticles, let me just say this. You might take a guess at what else it's in. Right? It's in something else too. It's the ingredient of something else. Just saying. That form a tiled coat and only 80 nanometers thick. At its current dimensions, it can be draped over very small objects the size of a few biological cells, or 1,300 square microns in area, and when done so, and it manages to mask their 3D shape by reflecting light waves. Quote, this is the first time a 3D object of arbitrary shape has been cloaked from visible light. This is Zhang Zhang, the director of Berkeley Lab Material Sciences Division, in a press release. Our ultra-thin cloak now looks like a coat, and it is easy to design and implement, and potentially suitable for hiding macroscopic objects. and works by employing specially devised metamaterials which, unlike natural materials, can bend or curve the reflection of light via their physical structure rather than their chemical composition, essentially rendering objects optically undetectable. And when light falls on the activated cloak, its array of nano antennae distort the usual reflection of light from the object underneath, which makes it seem as if nothing is there, and my contact is dry as shit. Sorry. And the cloak, which is described in the Journal of Science, makes an object appear flat and invisible if viewed from in front, but any movement by the viewer or the object would shatter the illusion. So, wow, crazy. Make it appear flat. That's strange. Make it appear flat. I feel like somebody just had come out with a video of the moon saying it was flat. Wasn't it Andrew, Boogeyman Channel, showing that the moon wasn't a parabolic shape like everything else? It appeared to be flat. Now, wouldn't that be crazy if the moon were like a hologram and not even real? Right? Strange. You can see here extreme light trapping with nanomaterials. And notice how they're all trying to trap light. Why would they want to trap light? Weird, ain't it? How they would want to trap light. And what if us being beings of light? Think about that. Us, these beings of light. What if we were chock full of nano shit? Right? What would happen? Could they use something like this to trap human light? Right? Like our spirit, our soul. Could they use something like that? I'm just wondering. Just asking. Putting it out there. Could that happen? Could that be something that would be done to us? Pretty sure they achieved teleportation in the 50s as well. Yeah, we're batteries. Yeah, we fucking are. They're demons. Yes, they are. They are demons, it appears. And Cowboy shot them out of the air. What? The Matrix. Like the Matrix if you let them. Yes, I agree. Like the Matrix if you let them. Yes. And see, and this is my point, man. This is my point. We are beings of light. We have been deceived by being put asleep. We've been fractured or fragmented into male and female. Right? Masculine, feminine. And we have been placed in these meat suits, right, that have not just us, but a demon attached to us. That's why we have left brain, right brain. It's a host body. Host. Heavenly host. Get it? Right? Those are the angels, by the way. So the angels would be trapped down here. Remember, a third of the stars were flung to the earth, and those angels that were with him, right? That were with Satan. It's us, guys. We're the fallen. We're the fallen. And we've been deceived by Satan. And somehow or another, that's why we have to remember, put ourselves back together, right? We have to remember, somehow or another, we have been deceived into this place, and now he's trying to eat us. Now he's trying to eat us, right? Remember, Kronos devours his own children. Smart guy, Keen, you're not asleep. Keep it that way. Hey, buddy, I'm trying. I am trying. And I think we're all... Gates is a clone. Dude, I think we're all clones. Just to be honest with you. Honestly. If you look at it, like, seriously, think about it. How many different times this place has been destroyed and, everybody starts back over? That would mean, like, we're a clone, right? I would be a 4th generation clone. You know what I mean? Because this would be the 4th world, right? The 5th world is emerging. So this would be the 4th time that we have lived, right? We probably all lived through, and who knows how many cycles we've been through. You might be like a 100th generation clone, just to keep it real, right? Because that's what they're doing, right? That's what they're doing. It's just starting us over and over and over again. We're getting reinserted back into this fucking soul trap, 4 and 7 times. Well, extreme light trapping, 1,000,000 solar cells, and listen to this too, this is crazy. A silicon solar cell harvests the energy of the sun as light travels down through light absorbent Silicon Valley. And to reduce weight and cost, solar cells are thin, and while silicon absorbs visible light well, sorry guys, this is kind of small, I can't see it. It captures less than half of the light in the near infrared spectrum, which makes up 1/3 of the sun's energy. And I'm telling you, I've said this in the past, I do believe that we are the actual sun, or a part of the actual sun. Like, we have to be, right? If they're trying to destroy and harvest our sun, and if we are actually, truthfully stars at the end of the day, right? It wouldn't be far-fetched to think that we are actually pieces of the sun, or suns ourselves, or all of us together make up our sun, right? And that's what it looks like, and that's why, as our sun darkens and shit, our world darkens, right? As the depopulation and the cycle ends, our sun is experiencing it because, well, we're directly connected to it. We're pieces of it, or we are it. And notice how the sun is called soul, right? It's called soul, right? And the only way to the Father is through the sun, right? And many people believe that the sun is like a portal or a wormhole, a gateway, if you will, right? And think about all the images, right? Where we're capturing these, they call them stellar cores, right? But these dark objects that are sucking energy off of the sun, right? And if you look at the earth itself, right? The earth is a star, right? And hurricanes and shit like that, those are the sunspots, right, on the earth. Those are the sunspots, right? I mean, it's an exact replica of the sun when you think about it. And just like the sun, and how we have these objects that are sucking the energy right off of the sun, or appear to be sucking the energy right off the sun, the stellar cores, we have objects doing the same thing here. Think about water spouts and shit like that. How many different videos have came out showing these crazy water spouts where it looks like something is sucking it up into the sky? And if we are 80% water, and it was separating the waters of the firmament above from the waters below, well, guys, not far-fetched to think that when they suck up the water, they're actually sucking us up, right? Because water it stores memory, right? What is it, Dr. Miyamoto, right? The Japanese scientist that did and I would show it, but every time I've ever shown it, they have blocked the video afterwards. He did an experiment showing how when you speak to water, and it was to show how we directly influence our physical environment, right? So he would speak to the water, and every time he would speak something bad or evil, the water would depict images of ugly, abstract, even one of them looked like a guy with a fucking arrow in his hand. It was crazy, right? When they would flash freeze the water droplet after he had spoken something, evil to it. Then when he would speak something good to it and say, like, I love you or whatever, right? They would freeze the water and it would look beautiful, symmetrical. I mean, it would be flawless, and it was proving how we directly influence our physical environment. But to me, of course we do, right? Of course we do. What did God do? He spoke everything into existence, right? So when we speak, it has power too. What does the Bible say about our speech? Right? That our tongue has the power of life and death. Has the power of blessing and cursing. That you should cut the damn thing out of your mouth. Right? Why? Because it can curse you. Right? That's why they're curse words. Right? Think about these things. You're being told the truth, man. It's just the way it's being presented is hoping to deceive you because of your indoctrination of lies. Right? The way that you've been told, the way that you believe has you look at everything in the wrong way, right? Like you are looking at shit upside down. We live in the upside down. This is like Stranger Things, literally. And if you don't, and that's also, in the text and in the scriptures, right? Samael created a reflection of the heavens above, right? That's what he did. A reflection of the heavens above and everything in it. This is a reflection. It's us. Everything in it. We're the stars. A reflection of the heavens above and everything in it. We're the stars. He created the reflection with us. And we're upside down. Right? We're upside down. That's why Stranger Things, calls it the upside down. Because we are. If you look into a puddle of water, right, at your reflection, right, you're looking at it, and that means you're upside down, right? You see the reflection and it's upside down. Think about it. A reflection of something in our eyeballs. Every time we see an image, what does it do? It takes the image at the back of our eye and flips it the right way up. That way we can see it, right? I'm sure that has nothing to do with everything being upside down, right? Sure. And when it talks about the bottomless pit opening up, guys, I'm trying to tell you, the bottomless pit is the heavens above. It's space, right? It's the firmament opening up, right? So when these entities come out of the bottomless pit and attack and sting everybody who doesn't have the seal of God on their forehead, well, they're coming through the damn firmament. Right? There's a crack in the firmament that opens up. And you look at like the depictions of the indigenous people and all of them holding hands, looking up at the sky as this hole opens up and is sucking everybody up into it. Strange shit. Or how about all the different videos of all the people having dreams, being sucked up into the sky, sucked up into a planet. Remember, Kronos eats his children. I'm sure that the destroyer or the purifier, Planet X, I'm sure it doesn't pull up on us and, suck everything that's attracted to it because it's magnetic. Everything is magnetic, right? So if you are evil and dark or you have no soul, you have no light, then you will be magnetically attracted to it, right? And you will be devoured. You will be destroyed. There's nothing to purify. When we see him, we'll be like him, right? And he is a being of light, right? The truth, the way, the life. He's light, right? So think about it. We see him, we'll be like him. That means anything that's of the flesh or whatever will be gone. We'll just be our light selves. The light beings that we truly are. We're going to shed our skin. We're going to transfigure, transform into our original state. I don't feel like we're graduating to anything. I feel like we're just returning back home. If you look at the first book of Adam and Eve, that's what it says too. I think it's 110 generations, or he says 5.5 days, right? And then we can return back to the garden. Well, think about that. That means we've been there before. That means we were like that before. Geoengineers inch closer to sun-dimming balloon test. Sun-dimming balloon test? For years, the controversial idea of solar engineering, the flight would not inject the particles, but it would only be a dry run of the steerable balloon and instruments needed to study chemical reactions in the stratosphere. The calm, cold layer, more than 10 kilometers. Even so, the project called the Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, or SCOPE-X, must first win approval of an independent advisory board. Wow, dude. Let's see if we can find that too before we jump into more of this. Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment. How about that? SCOPE-X. SCOPE-X. You see, everything that we've seen too, and it tells you SCOPE-X is a scientific experiment to advance understanding of stratospheric aerosols that could be relevant to solar geoengineering. It aims to improve the fidelity of simulations, computer models, of solar geoengineering by providing modelers with experimental results vital to addressing specific science questions. Such simulations are the primary tool for estimating the risks and the benefits. Gosh, I can't see. Risks and the benefits of solar geoengineering, but current limitations may make the simulations look too good. SCOPE-X will make quantitative measures in aspects of aerosol microphysics and atmospheric chemistry that are currently highly uncertain in the simulations. It's not a test of a solar geoengineering per se. Instead, it will observe how particles interact with one another, with the background stratospheric air, and with the solar and infrared radiation. Improved understanding of these processes will help answers applied questions such as it is. And it's possible to find aerosols that can reduce or eliminate ozone loss without increasing other physical risks. That's so fucking crazy, man. Even the wording that they're using, and I apologize, guys. Maybe I need to make my screen bigger so I can see it. I'm an old man, I guess. New high-performance lithiated silicon sulfur battery with pomegranate structured electrodes. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people and a lot of depictions of the apple that was eaten in the garden was actually a pomegranate. Just saying, just wanted to put that out there. I don't know how many of you guys have ever heard that, or you guys have ever seen like the different paintings and shit that has the pomegranate instead of the apple. Simulations are realities. I see you guys in the chat room going, spelling cursive. Yeah, very crazy, ain't it? Triple X experiment is everything. Simulations. Fake realities. Yes, they are fake realities. Well, but you gotta think, if we live in a simulation, then that means we live in a fake reality, right? It is worse than fake. I agree. It's a fucking nightmare is what we live in. It's a nightmare, right? And we have a ball and chain literally keeping us here, in case you didn't know. It's called a silver cord, right? A silver cord. That's why Operation Warp Speed, like the logo or the insignia on it was an image that had like an ancient depiction connected to the silver cord, right? And a lot of people believe, and I don't want to talk too much about some of this stuff, guys. That's why I'm trying to tap dance around a lot of things. Some people would say that that's what's they're trying to do is cut our silver cord. And if you didn't know, the silver cord is what connects you through the astral to your spirit, right? So say you're dreaming, right? Whenever you're dreaming, you're actually astrally projecting, right? You're projecting into the astral right there. That's the dream world. And I don't know if it's the actual spirit world or the one in between the spirit world and the physical. Not sure on that one, right? I'm not God. I'm not an expert in dimensional travel. It is beyond the phantom, the double, or the mimic. Yeah, hey, Zero. What's that movie called? And that's what I'm saying. Us? Is it called Us? Right? Here, let me see if I can pop it up. Fucking nuts, too, here. And it shows, like, the shadow version of you, right? The shadow version of you. Let's see if we can find it here. Oh, the Best Damn Podcast is on. Whoops. There. See if we got some sound here. Okay.
They won't stop until they kill us.
And notice the White Rabbit. Notice the kid had his mask up, right? Whenever he was himself. And then when he was dark, the mask was on, or he had something covering his face, right? Why? Because a mask, right, is or if you look at a personality, which derives from the word persona, which means a mask, right? It's a demon. Right? A demon. A mask is a demon. Just like whenever you see masks in computing, right? Whenever you're looking at computers, right? They use different layers called masks. Same thing with the Hopi masks, right? They get all of this stuff from the same fucking place. And notice that it was a dark version of themselves, right? It was their host body. It was showing you the host body. It says they will kill us unless we kill them, right? And that's what it is. That's what all of this is about, is the battle or the war in heaven, right? This is the war in heaven. Remember, heaven, right, is within. The kingdom of heaven is within, right? That old serpent called the devil, you've got to throw his ass down or he's going to devour you. It's that simple. That's what it all boils down to. That's what it all breaks down to. And people don't get it. Notice the different DARPA programs too, pertaining to what's taking place now and the different names that they use. And I can't say anything about this but the names of the programs, right? And it's called Adept, one of them. Sigma. Panacea. Intercept. Prometheus. These are the names of the programs that they're using right now. In DARPA, the DOD is behind what? HARP and the stratospheric aerosol injection and all the different geoengineering. DARPA is behind every one of those companies that are poking people, right? Or giving, what's to everybody. Behind every one of them is DARPA. DARPA is behind the companies that are creating the syringes. DARPA is behind the whole fucking thing because it's the DOD, right? That's who it is. If we look at the radio frequency, go back to the radio frequency. I was showing a document in one of the private shows, which you guys need to check out the band playlist. One of the private shows, I was showing how that company, the Apijet company, is also through DARPA. The nanoparticles also through DARPA. The whole entire thing through DARPA, right? And that's why the DOD is the one disseminating this entire fucking agenda, right? You need to understand exactly how it's coming to you and why it's coming to you. And see, why is the sun red today? Why is the sun red today? How wildfire smoke is coloring the sky across America. Why is the sun red, guys? And see the Statue of Liberty and that cloud of smoke? Why is the sun red? I ask you that question. Why would it be like that? Would it be from perhaps, and if we think about this, as above, so below. Remember, the sun is soul, right? And if we are the sun, or essentially pieces of the sun, or come from the sun, our light comes from the sun, however it works, or we create the sun, I don't know how it works, but I know there's a connection there, right? The only way to the Father is through the Son. And if you think about what's happening here, as we're being harvested, right, and as our world becomes darker, our sun is changing. Think about 9/11 and this whole ritual and its beginning and how the sun has changed since then. We see the effects of what we would call, magnetic excursion or things like that, recurring micronovas, right? But as the sun converts from, white to blue to red and then finally black, could it be because it's the souls leaving the earth that's actually making it change? Right? Could it be that? Could it be the light leaving the sun? Right? It's being harvested from the sun. So it's creating this big change in it. Right? I'm not just talking about stellar cores that are hanging around this thing. Could we be witnessing, and think about this, if everything we see is a projection of us within, as we see these fucking stellar cores and shit around the sun, could we be in a matrix, but we are actually the sun? You know what I mean? We're in this program down here, in this holographic projection down here, believing we live here, believing we are here, but we're actually up there, right? And we're watching ourselves be drained of our life. Just something to consider. I know that's out there, and I know some people are going to be like, this guy's fucking fried. He's crazy. But I'm just saying.
Ontario, this is outside of a pharmaceutical building, and UN trucks are outside parked.
Look at that. Look at that. Lined up, baby. Lined up and ready for action. But I mean, you know, freedom is great. I love freedom. Right? I love it. Let me show you some other stuff. That's not predictive programming either. Where's it at? Psychotronic and electromagnetic weapons. Remote control of the human nervous system. Does anybody remember this channel that talked about this thing that would go through your nervous system and your spinal cord into your brain? Does anybody remember? Can't remember the name of that channel. Can't remember. You guys might. But I bet if you look at my private playlist, you'll be refreshed. The development of weaponry based on the new physics principles, direct energy weapons and geophysical weapons, wave energy weapons, genetic weapons, psychotronic weapons, etc., is part of the state arms procurement program for 2011 to 2020. The world media reacted to the hint on the open use of psychotronic weapons by the publication of scientific experiments from the 1960s where electromagnetic waves were used to transmit simple sounds into the human brain. However, most of them avoided saying that since the extensive scientific research has been carried out in this area throughout the world, only a Colombian newspaper, El Spectador, published an article covering the whole scale of the achievements of this, and it's got something. Britain's Daily Mail, as another exception, wrote the research in the electromagnetic weapons has been secretly carried out in the USA and Russia since the 1950s, and that previous research has shown that low-frequency waves or beams can affect brain cells, alter psychological states, and make it possible to transmit suggestions and commands directly into someone's thought processes. High doses of microwaves can damage the functioning of internal organs, control behavior, or even drive the victims to suicide. It's a good thing, too, that we don't have like high doses of microwaves anywhere.
Frozen in mid-flight, and you could see people just staring in total amazement. Some thought that maybe this bird was caught in wires, which is a great theory. But another eyewitness wrote on Twitter, there's a static pigeon in the air next to a 5G antenna.
What? It's like, what? And you guys remember this too, don't you? I showed this video a year or so ago of the bird just frozen as shit. People standing there looking up at it. Right? High doses of microwaves are damaging to internal organs and can be used to control and manipulate human behavior. Really weird. Look at that. There's another one. And I think I might have showed this one as well in another video. See, why the fuck would this happen in different places? Right? Like, why would we be witnessing things like this? And look, that bird is frozen. Frozen in the sky. This is a crow this time. And it looks like it was in the middle of flapping its wings. And you can see the beak moving. And see, people pay no attention to this kind of shit, guys. No attention to this kind of shit. They act as if, like, this is something totally normal. Look at that. Right there. There it is. Frozen as fuck. You can see the camera moving. Excuse me. I mean, They're freaking out. They're like, what in the hell? What in the hell? And remember what nanoparticles have the ability to do, man. Right? Dead bird floating. Midair, Southern California. A dead bird. Check this out. Look. Just dies. Look at that. Dead as fuck. You got to be kidding me, man. And see, this is what I mean. Like, don't tell me that we're, not seeing, we're not seeing the result of exactly this, right? We're not seeing this. And dude, it's so hard to even do a video on this right now because I can't fucking say half of what I want to because I'm not allowed to. Radiating themselves with these voice-modulated microwaves, they were readily able to hear, identify, and distinguish among the 9 words. The sounds heard were not unlike those emitted by persons with artificial larynxes. The system was later brought to perfection and improved by the document which appeared on the website of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in 1997, where the Office of Research and Development presented the Department of Defense's project, Communicating via the Microwave Auditory Effect. An innovative and revolutionary technology is described that offers a low probability of intercept radio frequency. Keep trying to tell you, radio frequency is the way that it will be done. That's why they cleared out the fucking analog, right, and went into digital, was for radio frequency. That's why in my video I show you the beetle, just like from iPet Goat 2 that's crawling across the guy who has the one eye wounded, right? The eye of Ra across his forehead. That's a DARPA beetle, right? And that DARPA beetle, from the document I showed you guys, they took hydrogel and put it inside of it and put a chip on its back, an RFID chip on its back, and were able to control it with radio frequency. How about that? So this high power RF transmitter and the innovative revolutionary technology described that offers low probability of intercept, radio frequency communications. The feasibility of the concept has been established using both a low intensity laboratory system and a high power RF transmitter. Numerous military applications exist in areas of search and rescue, security, and special ops. January 07, the Washington Post wrote on the same subject. In 02, the Air Force Research Laboratory patented precisely such a technology using microwaves to send words into someone's head. Rich Garcia, spokesman for the Research Laboratory of Directed Energy Directorate, declined to discuss that patent or current or related research in the field, citing the lab's policy not to comment on its microwave work. In response to a Freedom of Information Act request filed for this article, the Air Force released unclassified documents surrounding that 2002 patent and records that note that the patent was based on human experimentation in October of 1994 at the Air Force Base Lab, where scientists were able to transmit phrases into the heads of human subjects, albeit with marginal intelligibility. Research appeared to continue at least through 2002. Where this work has gone since is unclear. The research laboratory, citing classification, refused to discuss it or release other materials. We can only stress again that the world media is avoiding publishing the full scale of the progress of the research of the remote control of the human nervous system. Dr. Robert Becker, who was twice nominated for Nobel Prize, and his discovery of the effects of pulsed fields or the healing of broken bones, wrote in his book Body Electric about the experiment on 1974, released due to the Freedom of Information Act. And in the investigation, it's shown that the spoken word of hypnotists may be conveyed by modulated electromagnetic energy directly into the subconscious parts of the human brain, i.e., without employing any technical devices for receiving or transcoding the messages, and without the person exposed to such influence having a chance to control the information input consciously. In one of the 4 experiments, subjects were given a test of 100 questions, ranging from easy to technical ones. Later, not knowing they were being irradiated, they would be subject to information beams suggesting the answers to questions they had left blank, amnesia for some of their correct answers, and memory falsification for other correct answers. After 2 weeks, they had to pass the test again, and the results of the second test were never published. It's rather evident that in those experiments, the messages were sent to the human brain in ultrasound frequencies which the human brain perceives, but of which the subject is unaware. And due to those publications, his refusal to support the building for the antenna communications with submarines and brain frequencies, lost financial support for his research, which meant an end to his scientific career. Probably not. He probably just went into like some black ops shit. Transmitting human speech into the human brain by means of electromagnetic waves is apparently, for researchers, one of the most difficult tasks. It must be much easier to control human emotions, which motivate human thinking, decision-making, and actions. People who claim to be victims of experiments with those devices complain aside of hearing voices of false feelings, including orgasms, as well as aches of internal organs, which the physicians are unable to diagnose. And wouldn't that be crazy, right? They're just hitting you with orgasms over and over. I'm sure some people will be like, I want to be a TI. In November 2000, the Committee on Security of the Russian State Duma stated that on the capabilities enabling remote control of the human nervous system or the remote infliction of health impairment, we are available to many governments, and it is rather evident that those technologies are used in conflict with the Nuremberg Code for experiments on unwitting human subjects. In 2001, the newspaper of the U.S. Army Defense News wrote that Israel was experimenting with those weapons on Palestinians. Holy shit. And as well ousted Honduran President Manuel Zelaya while under siege, and Brazilian embassy in Honduras complained that he had been subjected to an electron bombardment with microwaves, which produces headache and organic destabilization. When asked by Democracy Now! As president, do you know about the Honduran arsenal? He replied, yes, of course. The use of the weapons is time and again reemerging in times of political crisis. And you know what? This reminds me of, well, they got a name for it now, but the ones that they did in Cuba, right? At the Cuban, was in the embassy, where they hit all of them with directed energy. They've now got like a thing, and they're trying to say that the White House recently was victimized by the same shit. If you guys would remember correctly.
There's a bioresonance to every individual. Every person bioresonance. And so the Stockholm, the original Stockholm patent is on my website. The Stockholm was able to go voice to skull with pulse transmissions in 92. And then after the rest of the development went black ops. We don't really know anything about it. We knew we could put voices in a group of people's heads. What they did, and I know from the Russian translation from Cheryl Welch, reading all of her translated psychotronic stuff from Russian, that they figured out how to biocode these microwaves so that they basically analyzed the DNA and they code the signal, but
algorithms.
and they will conclude that this person must be crazy. And as a result, they will recommend psychological evaluation for that person. You can see the way this is going to go, and the way it is going right now. As good people, helpless people that are being abused and tortured and enslaved and experimented upon in America today, American citizens cry out for help from their fellow Americans, and their fellow Americans say, why don't you take some Prozac? Because we think you're schizophrenic. Well, this is a highly technical program. All of the symptoms are induced by a technology that is so sophisticated, it is horrifying beyond description.
And somebody in the comment section actually brought up something really good. It says, or when people like Cardi B or basketball players freeze in the middle of an interview. Gwendolyn Morales says, yeah, think about it, man. Think about it. That's exactly what I believe is happening. I believe that those people, though, have probably already taken, like, the neural lace. Right? The neural lace shit, and that's why. You know, because they're probably already being controlled. And maybe there's, like, a disconnect in that connection that they're being fed. Or they said the wrong thing and they got buzzed. I don't know how the fuck it works, right? Like, I'm not plugged into the system. Not that I know of. Or maybe they told me to say that, right? Maybe they told me to say I'm not a part of it, because I really am, right? Who knows? But this is what I mean. Like, if you see these people glitching out and shit, I don't think it's because they're clones or anything like that. I think it is because they have already been marked and are part of the hive mind, beast system. And if what was it? Elon Musk was offering those who took the neural lace like a free download into the system. Here, take the neural lace and I'll plug you straight in, right, and give you all our information that you need. It's absolutely insane, right? Absolutely insane. But I'm sure, CERN and all of this, the White Rabbit Project, which is so crazy, considering, the White Rabbit Project and all of these things that are, happening now are not connected. You see here too, and let me just show you this. Your brain actually controls the reality we see, right? So if our brain was being controlled by, say, some type of frequency, or we were plugged into the AI system, right, it can make us see whatever reality it wanted us to see. It can make you, and this is what worries me about the whole hive mind beast system thing. Those who aren't a part of it, okay? Imagine the danger they'll be in when everyone around them is, and maybe they make us look like fucking aliens or something dangerous to everyone else, right? It talks about them killing you, thinking they're doing, in the name of God. Very crazy shit.
Just over a year ago, for the third time in my life, I ceased to exist. I was having a small operation. My brain was filling with anesthetic. I remember a sense of detachment, falling apart, coldness. And then I was back, drowsy and disoriented, but definitely there. Now, when you wake from a deep sleep, you might be confused about the time or anxious about oversleeping, but there's always a basic sense of time having passed, of a continuity between then and now. And coming around from anesthesia is very different. I could have been under for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 years, or even 50 years. I simply wasn't there. It was total oblivion. Anesthesia, it's a modern kind of magic.
Modern magic.
And in this process is one of the greatest remaining mysteries in science and philosophy. How does consciousness happen? Somehow, in each of our brains, the combined activity of many billions of neurons, each one, a tiny biological machine, is generating a conscious experience. And not just any conscious experience, your conscious experience, like this, like that. How does this happen? Well, answering this question is so important because consciousness for each of us is all there is. Without it, There's no world, there's no self, there's nothing at all. And when we suffer consciously, whether it's mental illness or pain. And if we can experience joy and suffering, what about other animals? Might they be conscious too? They also have a sense of self. And as computers get faster and smarter, maybe there'll come a point, maybe not too far away, when my iPhone develops a sense of its own existence. Now, I actually think the prospects for a conscious AI are pretty remote. And I think it's because my research is telling me that consciousness has less to do with sheer intelligence, more to do with our nature as living and breathing organisms. Consciousness and intelligence are very different things. You don't have to be smart to suffer, but you probably do have to be alive. In the story I'm going to tell you, our conscious experiences of the world around us and of ourselves within it are kinds of controlled hallucinations that happen with, through, and because of our living bodies. Now, you might have heard that we know nothing about how the brain and body give rise to consciousness. Some people can say it's beyond the reach of science altogether. But in fact, the last 25 years have seen an explosion of scientific work in this area. If you come to my lab at the University of Sussex, you'll find scientists from all different disciplines, and sometimes even philosophers. All of us together trying to understand how consciousness happens and what happens when it goes wrong. And the strategy is very simple. I'd like to think about consciousness in the way that we come to think about life. Now, at one time, people thought that consciousness being alive could not be explained by physics and chemistry, that life had to be more than just mechanisms. But people no longer think that, as biologists got on with the job of explaining the properties of living systems in terms of physics and chemistry, things like metabolism, reproduction, and homeostasis. The basic mystery of what life is started to fade away. People didn't propose any more magical solutions, like a force of life or an element of tell. So as with life, so with consciousness. Once you start explaining its properties in terms of things happening inside brains, bodies, the apparently insoluble mystery of what consciousness is will start to fade away. At least that's the plan. So let's get started. What are the properties of consciousness? What should a science of consciousness try to explain? Well, for today, I just like to think of consciousness in two different ways. There are experiences of the world around us, full of sight, sounds, smells, this multi-sensory, panoramic, 3D, fully immersive inner movie. And then there's conscious self, a specific experience of being you or being me, the lead character in this inner movie, and probably the aspect of consciousness we all cling to most tightly. Let's start with experiences of the world around us, and the important idea.
And think about that too, guys. He's saying that you have to be alive, right? To have consciousness, you have to be alive. Now, if you're disconnected from that source of life, what animates you, what makes you alive, you become the Walking Dead, right? You become the Walking Dead. You no longer are conscious in the way that he's describing, at least. I assume that you would still have, you would only have what you would consider the reflection of life, like a demon, right? Think of like a demon, right? It exists, it's a being, it's got a purpose, it feeds off energy, it's driven by certain things, but it can't create anything, right? It's trapped within its own existence. It's made up of only what's fed into it, right? There's no freedom for an entity like that whatsoever. And it talks about when the bottomless pit is opened, right? Like, and they have a king over them, right? They're a one mind. Right, so not only have you just been disconnected from source, which gives you your individuality, which gives you you, right? It is you. And whenever we sell our soul, we sell us over to the system. Now all we have is that left brain, right? That persona, that mask that mimics the old you, the real you. Right? That's all we have now. We have a mask to wear. But it's an empty shell. right? The host body is no longer hosting the host, right? It's just a body. It's just a body. And they're one mind because they no longer have the free will or the living spirit of the Creator, right? So they're just an extension of Samael, of Satan, of the destroyer, of the darkness that they now belong to, right? He gives the illusion that there are more than one of him, right? When he creates all the other archons, think about it. They all came out of him. He self-replicated. They were copies of him, right? When Samael made the archons, that's what he did. He made copies of himself. They came out of himself. So it made it appear as if there was a bunch of archons now that had, spontaneously appeared around him and that he had a whole group of people now. But all they really was more of him, right? None of them actually had life in them. None of them actually were their own being. None of them actually had free will. They just became slaves of him. Some people have been so well adjusted to the enslavement here that it's not a hard transition for them to let go of that soul and be a slave eternally. Right? That's what they've done here. They've gradually got you comfortable with your enslavement. That way you won't notice it when they clip that silver cord and enslave you forever. Right? And when we look at, I'm probably going to get in trouble, but if we look at what they're trying to put in us now, what they're trying to do with us now, right? Compare it to what it would all be connected to, right? What it would all be connected to. We know that D-Wave, the quantum computer, right? Quantum, and it's in other dimensions is what it is. Parallel dimensions, excuse me. And you can hear what the people that are making D-Wave, Neural Lace, and all of this, what they're telling you, right? Which is very strange considering people just don't listen. When we think of something alien, man, we don't generally think of something spiritual, right? Something interdimensional. And even think about that word, right? If there is different dimensions, right? Something intradimensional. Between dimensions, between worlds, right? What kind of state would it be in? It would be a shadow. It's intradimensional. It's not even a being within its own dimension, right? It's shadowing another dimension. Intradimensional.
Doesn't capture the essence of what's happening. I don't know if any of you are turn of the century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft. He's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he exposed a few creatures called consciousness. The essence of consciousness is cosmic indifference. So what he's saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way you don't care about a ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that were summoned into your world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are they're not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harrison says, nobody's paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the U.S. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
So I mean, you got people waiting on a fucking alien invasion talking about Pleiadians and shit and how they're guiding us through the ascension. Some of us just can't see the forest for the trees, right? Like, it's so easy to become distracted when they're dangling a bunch of shit in front of your face. And whenever you look at, like, it's the Q map. Fucking describes it perfectly. Right? Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. And I think it's just called that because that's one of the first maps that the dude actually made. See if it's up here. Yeah. Look at this, man. Look at this. This is showing you. And this is why I hate fucking conspiracies. That's why I hate them. Can't fucking stand them. Can't stand when people push them too. Because this is what it is. It's a web. A web of fucking lies. That's what the internet is, remember? Internet. An interdimensional web. An interdimensional net. Interconnecting all of us spiritually and consciously. For the trap. For the spider that's waiting on us. That spider called Samael. That god of the blind. That old serpent called the devil, Satan. That king of the bottomless pit. Right? We chase one rabbit hole because we're following the white rabbit. Fall down into another. Into another. Into another. See how they all lead to each other? Isn't that cute? They all lead to each other. See that? See how there's really no end? How it just keeps going around and around and around, and one connects to the next and to the next, to the next, next. Because it's meant to do that. It's meant to get you chasing your own tail. You'll never find the fucking truth this way, by the way. You'll have a shit ton of useless information. You know, you'll be able to tell me all about everything. Las Vegas and Boston and all the different things that have happened over the years. Right? You'll probably be able to list off a bunch of fucking fake alien races that don't exist. Oh, there's the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, blah, blah, blah. Right? But you still won't see that you have a web wrapped completely around you and you're getting ready to be devoured. You still won't see that you're still blind as fuck. You're looking out one eye and not the one you're supposed to be looking through. You still won't see that you never broke out of the box at all. Right? At all. Just got a little bigger. That was it. So it feels like you're out of it. Just got a little bigger. That's it. That's why they made this shit trendy and cool and stuff. Oh, cool. Oh, be woke. Right? You guys ever seen the whole woke community? Ever watch one of those videos? It's fucking laughable. People calling themselves woke. Same people woke or say racist shit and oh my gosh. Still believe in political parties and all that. You ain't woke. You ain't woke. You're stupid. You fell into another gimmick, another trap, another hole, another lie. Anything that comes to this world comes from the king of this world, the God of this world. Those who have love for the world, love for the Father is not in them. The Father is the source. Love for the source, love for the Spirit is not in them, is what they're saying. Right? And as we keep chasing our own tails with these bullshit conspiracies, and we keep pushing them and making them popular and shit like that, each time we do that, we lessen the chances of another person waking up, right? We help control the opposition. We help railroad people that are really seeking truth. Think about the whole Q movement. Oh, God, man, it just upsets me so much. People get mad. They're like, oh, why does John hate the Q movement, blah, blah, blah. Because I watched a bunch of fucking people, who were on the right track, seeking truth, be deceived, and they're never coming back. Never coming back. They're completely warped and brainwashed from it. Gone. They believe now that this man is going to save everybody. And that any day now he's coming back. That's their savior. That's their Messiah. They just don't know it. Right? And if he told them all today to go take the mark, they'd do it. They'd do it. Because he was designed and he was set up as that person that was the last hope. Right? He was the last hope. He appeared to be in complete opposition of everything that was fucking us over. Right? So we thought, hey, if this guy's bad, well, there's no hope. There's no hope. This is our last chance. Our last hope. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Never was. Never was. He was a fraud from day one. Don't you know that? You should. You should. And some people still won't believe it. They get mad. They'll turn the fucking video because I said it. They'll turn the video because I said it. You must like the other guy. Nope. He's a piece of shit too. They all are. They're two wings to the same bird. Two sides, same coin. Solar, lunar. These are the two pillars. Duality. Good cop, bad cop. They play both sides. The thing is to not have any sides. That's it. That's it. See, you keep following this shit, labeling yourself, putting yourself in a box, you keep ending up in one. Only the truth will set you free. What is the truth? There is no spoon, right? There is no spoon, like in the Matrix. It's not real. It's all bullshit. Choose not to choose. Choose not to choose. That's all you can do. Right? Christ told you, turn the other cheek. Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't get involved. Because if you play the game, it's rigged. You lose. Period. There is no winning this game. You just lose, man. Period. It's all set up for you to lose. Even on the side you think is good, you lose on that side too. They're harvesting both. That's why Lucifer's the false light. He's not the real light. He's the false light. Right? Enki and Enlil, two brothers. All working for the same goal. All working for the same goal. People can't see it. Won't see it. Refuse to see it. Cognitive dissonance. It hurts, man. I know it does. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry it hurts. I can't help it. I wish it didn't.
So, on that pleasant note, we're hiring people to try to make something like this happen. And of course, this is a very difficult project, of course. And I'm kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek about all this, how bad things are, because it's not really like that. There's technology that lets do something like this. It's agnostic. It depends who you're into.
Technology's a double-edged sword. Yeah, so is the truth. Right? It's that little scroll, guys. That little scroll. Right? Sweet in your mouth, bitter in your belly. That's the truth. Where's it at here?
We have the creator of what is the world's first quantum computer.
We're not going to talk a lot about the specific details, of which I'm glad. You're sure you're glad. But I'm going to try to give you an idea about what the kind of thing is that we build and why people are so excited about it. But I'm going to wrap that story in another story. How many of you have children? So it's almost everybody. So I have 3 children. The youngest is 4. The oldest is 8. And they're very different, but they share one thing in common. And the parents in the audience may, I suspect, have noticed the same thing. Each of my children has fixated on a particular stuffed animal as being their special.
Well, shit. And see, these are 3 dangerous predictions, too. Let me see what the fuck just happened here. There we go.
In particular, my middle son, James, absolutely loves this little guy called Bear Bear, which is the picture that I'm showing up here. Bear Bear was a limited release Thai Beanie Baby, and there aren't very many of them that were made of his particular form. And one Christmas, I decided that it would be insurance policy to go and try to buy some more just in case something happened to them. So I went on the internet and did a search, and I was only able to locate 2 others that were for sale, and I bought both of them. So now he has 3 of these little guys. But the reason that it occurred to me that this might be a good place to start is a conversation that I had with him last week. He wanted to sleep with his older brother in his bedroom, and his older brother wouldn't let him. And he was very sad and despondent. He was like, I'm scared, I don't want to sleep by myself. And I said, well, you've got Bear Bear. And he said to me, Bear Bear isn't real. And so I found this very intensely distressing for a variety of reasons that maybe you'll understand when I go through this. And I assured him that Bear Bear was as real as anything else in the world. And he said, but he can't speak and he can't move. And so I said, well, what you really mean is he's not alive. And he said, yes, that's what I mean. So for very young children, the sense of being real and the sense of being alive are somehow connected. And I'm going to circle back to this point at the end. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. In my last 15 years of working on this type of stuff, I found that scientists divide up into 2 categories of zealots about this field. The first half are people who are absolutely entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field, that may look a little strange to you who don't follow theoretical physics, but there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes, and that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have...
Quantum computation will be the first technology that allows useful tasks to be performed in collaboration between parallel universes. Between parallel universes. Intradimensional entities. You see, and it talks about, when there's no room in hell that the dead will walk the earth. They're bringing hell to Earth. That's what this is. This is a terraforming of the Earth to bring hell to Earth. And the demons here. They're already here. They're within you. They're within you. You live in a host body. You're half demon. Unless you've faced your own darkness, your shadow self, and overcome it and thrown that dragon down. The Gospel of Thomas talks about, and I hate paraphrasing, but I don't want to look it up and take a bunch of time so I can get into more of this. But it talks about basically that when the man overcomes a lion and becomes man, blessed is he. But when the lion overcomes a man, or devours the man, and becomes a lion, cursed is he. And it's talking about your higher and lower nature. And it's saying that when you conquer your lower carnal self, that demon within you, when you conquer that, right, you are blessed, right? You have earned the right to become a son of the Most High. I use son as a generic term because there are no daughters of God. Just saying. Don't know why. I think it's because we don't have a gender when we're angels, right? We're both. So it's just called sons. Sons of God. So when you have devoured, or not devoured, when you have conquered that lower nature, right? You have transfigured or transmuted all of your darkness into light. You have become a son of the Most High. You have become blessed, right? You have become anointed, Christed, right? You are in Christ, in the anointing. You're walking on water, right? We're 80% water. You're walking on water. But when you are devoured by your lower nature, consumed by your lower nature, you become cursed. Now remember, cursed is hexed. You're hexed out. You don't exist. There's no more you. It has been eaten by the demon within you. It's the two wolves. Which one lives? The one you feed. I can tell you right now, the lower nature is easy to feed. If you just do nothing and you try nothing and you live for nothing, well, guess who's going to win just by default? The lower nature. The world's designed for the lower nature to win, right? The world is designed for the lower nature to win. That's why the world will hate you if you fight against it. It wants you to lose. And let me tell you something, that losing looks like winning here. Right? Losing looks like winning. That's why it's easier to thread a camel through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Right? Think about it. You have all the external riches and, women, men, whatever your pleasure, like whatever your pleasure. You have all those things. No struggling, no suffering, no nothing. All of these things are what, pain makes you appreciate pleasure, right? To truly understand evil will make you want to be good, right? Because you don't want that evil. You know what it's like. You've tasted it. You've experienced it. The pain, you felt it. You don't want that anymore. You're like, no, I know what that's like. I don't want to inflict that on another person, right? Because I know what it feels like myself. And you have compassion for other people who are hurt because you've been hurt. Right? You have love for another person because you've been without love, and you know what that feels like. Right? So you have to experience these things. You have to. It's what allows you to grow, to overcome. But if you have a life that, the silver spoon life where you never experience a loss, and see what they're trying to do with our children and stuff, with the whole participation trophies and all of this stuff. This is what they're trying to do, right? To give them a lack of character. A lack of character. They don't want them to know how to win and lose. They don't want them to know what loss feels like. They don't want them to feel anything. That's why they numb them down and dull their senses, right, with the television, showing them horror nonstop and sex nonstop. They don't want them to have the ability to overcome. They're crippling them. Those are the ones they are targeting for this final generation here, right? They want them to be robotic, compliant. They want them to be desensitized to the horrors that you and I would never want to participate in and would run the other direction from if we seen and couldn't sit and watch. Right? Because they want them to sit back and allow themselves to be conquered, to be consumed, to be destroyed. But if we face that darkness, we become purified, right? We're refined by the fires of affliction, right? So when you're afflicted, right, remember, God corrects the ones he loves. Being corrected sucks, man. Right? You ever had a spanking when you were a kid? Some of you, maybe not, right? They don't spank kids anymore. But when I was little, they did. They'd spank your butt, right, when you were bad. It sucked. Right, it hurt my feelings worse than anything. Right, but I knew I had done something wrong. Right, I knew I had messed up. I had made a mistake. And it reminded me, when I went to do that same thing again, that I didn't want to. That would cause me pain. That I would disappoint myself. Those who loved me. Right, and I grew from that pain. I grew from that discipline. That's what God does for us. Right? That's what God does for us. He disciplines us. Think about when you had your awakening. What happened to you, man? Did your life get torn apart? Did you go through a dark night of the soul, as they call it? Right? Most of you, I'm willing to bet, did. Right? I did. My whole fucking life. Boom! Imploded, ripped apart. Everything I loved and cared about and held on to for dear life. Ripped away, smashed into a million pieces. The most painful, traumatic experience of my life. And I am more grateful for it than anything I could ever think of. Because without it, I would still be that same arrogant, evil, angry piece of shit that I was before, But it allowed me a chance to be rebuilt, right? Rebuilt. And does it mean I'm perfect now? Hell no. Hell no. Not even close, But it changed my heart. It changed my heart. It changed how I seen myself and how I felt about myself, which then changed how I seen others and how I felt about others. Right? It let me know that everything that I clung to and I held on to, relationships, people, things, jobs, all this stuff I thought was so important and I just could not go without. And that I thought that I wanted, I thought that I had worked my whole life for, right, were meaningless in the scheme of things. They were meaningless. The house, the car, a relationship I wasn't happy in and wasn't loved in and, all of that. Meaningless. Meaningless. Had no worth. Was doing nothing for me but sucking the life right out of me. And that's why you see people too, and you can see them. where they've worked the same job for 30 years and they've been married to the same person for 30 years. I'm not saying there can't be happiness in that too. I've seen people that are absolutely happy, right? So just, understand. But you can see on their face where life has drained them, that they're miserable, right? They're miserable keeping up the illusion, right? Like, it's so much work, to keep up the illusion, to keep going to that slave job that don't pay you enough, treats you like shit, and will forget about you the day that you die, or the day that you quit. They'll replace you with someone else. They might do it while you're still there with someone younger and more capable, or someone smarter or better looking, or, depending on what job you do, right? And you're committed to this, right? Because without it, you can't have that big fancy home you're so proud of. Without it, you can't have that nice car you're so proud of. Those nice clothes you're so proud of. Right? And see, and that's how we judge ourselves socially too. What's socially acceptable, what social status is based on, right? Like, how big's your house? How nice is your car? How much money do you make? How beautiful is your wife, or how handsome is your husband? This is what we use to value ourselves and determine our self-worth, right? And this is also why when people don't have those things, they are depressed. They feel worthless, right? And others look down on them too, don't get me wrong. Socially, we do this to each other. And I think it's called the egg of consciousness, David Icke calls it. Where we're all trapped in this, this illusion, right? This conscious illusion. And we keep each other in there. We keep each other in the fucking cage. Right? Like, oh, you don't have this house? Well, you don't belong anymore. Right? And they become the black sheep. Right? They're still inside the egg, feeling shitty about themselves, wishing they had what the other sheep had. But they're not accepted by the other sheep because they're not doing what the other sheep are doing. It's not until we break free till we find freedom, right? Like, until you stop caring and seeking the acceptance of man, you'll never be free. You'll never, ever be free. And that was some of the lessons like that I had to learn myself, like, literally, big time. I cared so much what people thought that when people didn't like me, or when people didn't treat me the way I wanted to be treated or respect me, I took it so personally. I thought it was my fault, that I put it on my worth, like I wasn't good enough. Like, holy shit, I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. We all have done it. We've all done it in our own way. And maybe all of us still do it in our own way. Right? But it isn't until, and it wasn't until for me, like, I let go of giving a shit about what people thought about me, that I truly started to be happy and truly started to even love myself at all. Right? So, you know what? I want to dye my hair. I'm going to dye my hair. You're too this to, you shouldn't do that. You'll never get a job here, or you're too old for this, or I liked your hair better this way, or people are going to continuously do this to you too, because they want you back in the cage with them. They want you back into misery with them. Right? They don't want any of us to truly be an individual. Why? Because they need us to have that lack of life. Remember, life, source, spirit gives us the individuality. It gives us the spirit. It gives us, it is us. It is us, man. It's what makes us a being. So without it, right? Without it, we're part of the hive. Right? We're part of the hive. We're just another extension of the hive. Another worker bee. We look like everyone else. We talk like everyone else. We think like everyone else. Right? There is no us. There is no individuality. There is no uniqueness. And remember, God handcrafted each and every one of you. Why the fuck do people think that he made a mistake? Right? Why would you think he made a mistake with you? He made you the way you are for a reason. If you're overly sensitive, he needed somebody sensitive, right? And loving. Right? If you're too forgiving, he needed somebody in the world to have a bunch of fucking forgiveness. Because people need forgiveness. Right? Like whatever it is. And usually our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. Right? It goes both ways. We have to learn that the world wants to keep you in the prison. People, remember, if they're not unplugged, right? They're still asleep. Then they all could potentially be an agent, and they will die or kill you to protect it, right? If the world has shown me one thing, that it has shown me that. It has shown me that as soon as I became myself, which it took me a long time to find out who that was, and I had to spend 3 years, guys, alone. I mean, alone. 3 years alone. Not with nobody in my life. Just to find me. Just to find me. And it wasn't easy at all, to find myself. That was the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. And you see why you gotta know thyself. Because it's not easy to know who you truly are. Right? If you know yourself, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your likes, your dislikes. And nobody does know themselves, so they wonder why their marriages fail and their relationships suck. Right? You don't even know you. How the fuck are you going to know them? And that's what we do too. We start relationships immediately. Immediately. People move so fast nowadays, it's not funny. Once upon a time, people would court one another and take time to get to know one another and become friends with each other. And then they would have a relationship. And if that worked out, then they would get married. And it was a lifetime commitment. Right? It was a lifetime commitment because it was a commitment of the heart. Right? They were married in their heart. It was really love. Right? Not lust. Lust runs out. That shit runs out. I don't care how attracted you are to somebody. Eventually, the new will wear off. You may still be attracted to them, but it will not be like it was from day one. Right? And that's just the way shit goes. We're human and we're driven biologically to reproduce and to procreate. And I believe we're not even truly meant to be monogamous, right? In our animal side. Our animal side that's why you see a beautiful female and you'll look at her. You know what I mean? Even though you have a beautiful wife, you might still look at the other beautiful women. It's not because you're a piece of shit and cheat on your wife. It's because that animal part of you, it's driving you to do that. Because your whole mission physically is to procreate. Right? And that's why it's important we master that lower carnal self. Right? Because our body, physically, carnally, is opposed to what our nature is spiritually. Right? So when we procreate with everyone else, physically, that may get the job done on reproducing, right? And that may be the goal. But spiritually, we're commingling our spirits with all of those people. Right? And every time we do, the sins, the curses, all the things that they have in them, you now have in you. Because you're mixing your spirits. Right? You're mixing your spirits. And male and female, you think about the concept of reproduction in itself, right? Like women produce, right? They produce the offspring. Well, male has a seed, so we imprint on a female, right? Think about it. Who the fuck do you want imprinting on you? What kind of people do you want commingling their spirit with you? You never know what a person is into. You never know who a person really is until you know who a person really is. Let me tell you something. I have been deceived big time by people. I have been deceived big time. And I know a lot of you have too, right? And that's why it's so important that, we allow our spirit to be the one in the driver's seat. Right? Because it has that knowing. Right? It has that knowing. It knows things when we don't know things. You look at the whole two U's, the left brain, right brain. Remember when they severed the brain, right? The connection between the two? Right brain knew everything. It knew everything automatically. That divine feminine Venus right brain knew everything. When it was shown an image, it was something the person had never seen, but it already knew what it was. Right? Because it was that eternal spiritual side of you. Right? And whenever we use that, right, that intuition, when we're intuitive, when we're into ourselves, right, we can't go wrong. We can't go wrong. That's what it's all about, is tapping into you, learning who you are. And when you understand you understand the world around you. Think about it. Your DNA has every living thing, every organism, everything of the earth within it. It does. Why is that? Because everything is you. Right? So when you know you, all of a sudden you're tapped into everything else around you as well.
Different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch and whether you chose to come to the set.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you actually sat down and talked with missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Well, the answer depends on you. What do you want to talk about? Maybe you want a closer relationship with God. Or maybe you're interested in the teachings of Jesus Christ. Or maybe you're just curious about
Passion or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre, because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within, or almost within our grasp right now. So people from a physics background love this. They want to understand the world. They want to understand the universe, how it all works. There's another type of person who tends to come from the computer science side that's like, yeah, okay, that's all great. But there's a different thing going on here, which is just as exciting, if not more, and that these machines that supposedly can do this wild stuff, let's forget about how they work, if you could build one, could solve problems that you could never, ever solve with any computer of the sort that we built. If you took every single atom of silicon in the world and made the most sophisticated conventional Intel-style processor that you could build, there are problems we know of that I could write down on a sheet of paper that you could never, ever, ever solve with that thing. That you could with this kind of machine. So that's very exciting. Humans use tools to do things. If you give humans a new kind of tool that can do things that you couldn't otherwise do, imagine the possibilities. So So you may think, well, this is all fine and dandy, but aren't these things in the realm of theory and speculation kind of in the same regime as other futuristic things you may have heard of which may be allowed by the laws of physics but aren't here yet? That's not true. There are in fact many of these machines deployed now in available research centers following the model that was used to introduce supercomputers to the world. They're too big and ornery and difficult to operate to put in your home. Too expensive also. But you can give them to a place which will manage them as a shared resource that will offer that service to the world. And there are two of these now. One of them is at the University of Southern California. And this analogy with flight, I think, is an interesting one. So a horse can beat, or could beat, the initial flight of the Wright brothers' flight in speed. But a plane is not a faster horse. A plane is a different kind of machine. The plane takes advantage of another resource that nature gives us, this third dimension, in order to do something that matters to people better that you could do with any horse.
Plane takes advantage of the takes advantage of the third dimension.
Fly, at least the kinds of horses that we know about. So these types of computers now are being thought of in the same way. They're not terrifically powerful yet, but they're doing something completely different than what your computer does. And that thing is like flight. It gives these computers access to these new resources, maybe you could call them parallel universes, in order to do something that you couldn't otherwise do. And that's not the only one. In fact, the one I'm going to come back to and talk to in the context of the story that I'm wrapping this in was recently installed at NASA. And Google was the primary interested party that pulled this whole thing together.
Sure they did.
And this one is really exciting to me. Because what they're going to do is apply this machine to an area that I think is fundamentally important. It's the crux of our future as humans. And that's, can we build machines like us? So, building machines like us might be possible. I certainly believe it is. I might be wrong. But what I do know is that the types of approaches that people are taking now to build intelligent machines benefit immensely from what this machine that we've built does best. So what this center is about is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines, so this is very exciting to me. Steve Jurvetson has been
And think about that, man. You know, they're using the third dimension. They're data mining your fucking ass. You know, and terraforming everything we know. And don't think they're not getting inside of you, too. Look at the way a D-Wave computer is stored here. And then think about what they're trying to put in everybody. Just think about this for a second. Where's it at here? Let me show you.
Hamilton, I'm the Vice President of Processor Development in D-Wave Systems. I'm responsible for the processor development group, which involves the design, test, and development and release of the quantum processor that D-Wave makes, which is the underpinning of quantum computers that we build. Each of these black systems is a quantum computer. Inside that system is a thumbnail-sized quantum processor. In order to operate and develop quantum processors, we require a fairly extreme operating environment, which includes ultra-low temperatures and an ultra-low magnetic environment.
This thumbnail-sized processor looks quite a bit like an RFID